Ball knowers at lunch.
What's going on, buddy? Big week.
The acronym's ball. Yes. Before we get into that, by the way, I just did a shot of nasal spray while the intro was playing, and I didn't want you to think like I was doing any drugs. Brought to you by Walgreens algae spray, Flonase. Generic Flonase. Yeah, it was a big week. Big week for the Discord. Big week for you. Great Colin Yeager. It's interesting because that was one of the guys you mentioned last week as one of your better sneaky tight lie chippers on tour. And we talked about that last week. And for the fucking life of me, I looked at my field and I'm like, why did I fade him? I didn't mean to fade him. I will own it if I fucked up. I was like, I have no idea why I put fade on this man because I love the play. So, GJ, yeah, you take a couple of strikes of this Flonase pre-show, and we'll bring winners.
Listen, not one moment of that was easy. We were all sweating it in the Discord, and there were a lot of moments where during that final round where it looked like Scheffler was starting to die, and I kept saying, "This guy's the Terminator." I'm not cashing a ticket until he's like in the church pews with Meredith for Easter Mass 3 hours from now. And what do you know, on the final hole, he hits like everyone's going to talk about the putt that he missed, which it was a bad putt. I mean, he decelled. He barely even got the putt to the hole. That approach shot from like 160, 170 yards, swirling wind. There's a lot of like underrated wind on that golf hole that guys were judging wrong all day. Guys were getting their distance control on 18 wrong all day.
Yeah.
To stick one on 18 like that, it was like, here we go. And I think all of us that had Yeager tickets were saying to themselves, he's Freddy Krueger. You can't let him linger. If we get into a playoff, we're donezo. I mean, obviously you've got a great hedging opportunity if you're in a playoff and can still make a lot of money off that ticket. But I was shocked. I thought he was making that. Did you think he was making that? Because the pendulum is kind of swung with Scheffler, where there was a time watching Scheffler where you felt like he was going to miss every 6-footer. And then over the past 3 weeks, I've been watching Scheffler, and it's like, now I kind of just assume that he's going to make every 6-footer. And the answer is probably still somewhere in the middle.
Well, I thought it was a more significant putt than we may have even realized in terms of his last shot going into Augusta, right? On a similarly structured sort of tight lie, very long course. I thought when he hit that approach, Yeager had lost.
Me too.
And the Discord was extremely heated based on Scheffler is a very divisive person, not because he's a great golfer, but because of how you play him in DFS. And so there's a lot of smart people in this game, a lot of smart people on our Discord. So, it comes to blows sometimes because, you could have reasons for playing him. You could have reasons for not. There's a lot of not right in golf. I mean, there's not a lot of finite, resolute, this is the answer in golf. You could argue literally anything. So I think that's the reason that a lot of people, find it difficult to play Scheffler, and now he creates a lot of wedges between people who do play him and don't play him, and that ain't going to get easier at Augusta National. Looking at pricing today, it's going to get easier.
I'm unsubscribing from the debate. Like, I'm just out. Just everything.
Oh, here's the thing. I'm
muting it all.
No, everyone. Listen, you want to talk about fired up people? I get more fired up than anything. I've just been distracted with a couple of issues, so I didn't get fired up this issue. But it's fun. It's great in the Discord. It's lively.
It's not a personality trait, though. Like it's not. Whether you play or fade Scheffler, at Houston, at the Masters. It doesn't define who you are as a person. The only people that look stupid at the end of this are the people that say the other side is completely wrong. Okay. Those are the only people that look stupid at
Yeah.
the end, are the ones
Golf,
that are
golf
not
is the
willing to hear the
most.
counter argument.
I've been in this place for a long time in the DFS golf Twitter space and now Discord space and every space. I'm so immune to it, right?
Yeah.
Golf is a extremely chippy conversation, content, dialogue environment. Period. You just have to get through it and over it. Because if in very rare cases are you 100% right all the time. But Jagger, Jagger at the end, and again, kudos to you because that was a great call. I hated that he had a great number. I hated that for some reason on the cheat sheet I had faded him, and I'll own that. And the cheat sheet at Run Pure Sports is basically taking all of our exposures on every play every week. But I got to say that Jagger swagger, has anyone trademarked that yet? I thought about that this morning.
No,
He's got it. He's fucking got it, Jagger. I mean, the guy is a lot of fun to watch. He hits the ball a mile. He's got this bravado about him that now he backed up. He beat the best player on earth playing the best golf in the world. I think that Scotty, it's going to affect him. I mean, I just think that the last putt he hit, we thought he was over those woes. That's a huge thing. I mean, yeah, by the way, hit the like button and subscribe button and do that now.
Thanks. I love Isaiah. One of the best guys you'll ever meet in the Discord, and a great DFS player himself, particularly in cash, which are some streets I don't typically venture into. Can I give just a counterpoint on why it maybe isn't the worst thing that he didn't make that putt? Do you think it's the worst thing?
And he's going to tell me I'm wrong now.
No, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
No, I love it. Go ahead.
If he makes the putt and he wins 3 times in a row and he's going for his 4th win in a row at the Masters, which nobody has ever won 4 times in a row on the PGA Tour since Tiger Woods, I believe in 2008. And everybody's making the Scotty Tiger comps already. Now in the narrative streets, there is that seed of doubt where it's like, okay, let's pump the brakes on the Scotty's like this amazing putter now, and his putter is completely fixed. Maybe that I don't think it's going to do anything about his Masters projected ownership, which we could talk about whether he made the putt or misses the putt. But in terms of like, God, there's a lot more. And I'm not talking in like our gambling and DFS streets. I'm talking more in the mainstream media crowd, the questions that he's going to get asked at the Augusta pressers. If he's going for that 4th win in a row to be the first guy since Tiger to do it, and that 4th win is at the Masters, you're, potentially your 2nd Masters, already joining an elite group there. Just devil's advocate counterpoint, like, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world that he's not coming in with that type of media attention. Does that sound crazy to you, or you don't think it matters?
I don't think the media attention will change one bit.
Yeah, probably fair.
I think it'll be definitely maybe a little reduced because had he won 3 in a row again, that would have been insane, especially on Easter. And by the way, Scotty Scheffler not winning on Easter, kind of strange.
I know, right? Kind of felt written in stone.
But I do worry. I mean, also, he hadn't had a double bogey. He had 1 this year, and then he had 2. Was it one day?
He had 2 double bogeys,
and by putting.
Keep in mind, both those double bogeys were excusable. Like, one, he just lost focus on his 18th hole of the day and 3-putted from 5 feet. The other one, he spun it back into the water on that par 3, if you remember. And I mean, he missed his spot by maybe a couple feet on that one and paid a massive price. So, you think about him, pretty much spotting the field a couple strokes on mistakes that you probably can't count him to make going forward. And it's a fascinating social experiment going forward, what to do with Scheffler at the Masters. And I don't know how much time you want to spend
Well,
talking about Masters pricing or Valero, because I'm still super hyped for this week and think there's a ton of money to be made, and I'm full of Valero takes. But we also did get the Masters price bomb this morning. So you can tell me where you want to go.
let's spend a little bit of time on Masters for this reason, because I don't think that overall anything will change people's belief that Scottie Scheffler is the best player in the world, a former Green Jacket, and playing the best golf in the world by far. And the only thing that will change ownership and we saw last week, what was he, 13? 13 on the screw?
13K. Yeah, 13K.
Yeah, so he's 12-1 at Augusta National. Historically, that'd have been, oh my God. Now he feels like a discount.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that will change ownership at this point, because everything is pretty much locked in, is whether or not Rory McIlroy wins this week at the Valero and does it convincingly at a very driver-heavy course. Do I think he does?
No.
But if he wins by 5, Andy, that changes everything. Everything. Even if he – go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think there's one added wrinkle to this that we're not considering, and you can shoot this down completely and tell me nobody cares.
Doral.
Yeah. What if Rahm blitzes the field at Doral? What if Brooks blitzes the field at Doral? Not enough people will pay attention?
I still don't believe people count that as a serious.
Okay. I mean,
here's the problem: when the money is baked in, when it's prepaid, when everyone's making money, and the field, outside of the top guys, is weaker in a 3-day event, it really doesn't line up to these. I mean, John Rahm is saying without saying it, he's like, I know I took the money. I own it. I knew what I was getting into, but I miss real competition.
Yeah.
I don't think it changes much. Rahm and Brooks are going to have ownership regardless. The one guy that
particularly Brooks. I think
particularly Brooks.
Really,
and he
really
should.
Popular.
He should. He's always going to be good. I don't care if he's been off for a year. I mean, even coming off knee injuries, he was good. The two guys that I think I will find interesting to see how they play this week is Cam Smith, 8,900 at Augusta, which I think is a steal. And then hopefully chalk, but won't be, at 9,600 Neiman, which was the most bizarre price to me on the entire board. More
bizarre as in disrespectful or
overpriced for Neiman?
No, I'm with you. I was making.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were pulling a Huey Mack or something.
Yeah.
No, over Cantlay, over Spieth, over Aubert, over Matsuyama, over Cam Smith. So near Xander. Those are the two that will be interesting to me. I kind of want to see, because I love Cam Smith. I think outside of Brooks, Cam Smith is the one guy I would really love to see on tour again. And he's sort of built for Augusta National in terms of his creativity, his prowess, around the green, his elite putting. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, I don't think Rory is going to set the course on fire this week.
Yeah.
But
things
will change if he does.
Yeah, to put a bow on the Masters and Chef putting the house on lift from Trupp MAGA collection. There we go. Just to put a bow on the Masters pricing stuff and Scheffler, we were throwing out projected ownerships on Scheffler in the Discord this morning, and I said I'd take a slight over on 40%.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said over 40 is because you have to think about the decision matrix of what happened last week at the Houston Open, where let's look at the 4 categories of people: the people that played Scheffler and won money in Houston, the people that played Scheffler and lost money in Houston, the people that faded Scheffler and won money in Houston, and the people that faded Scheffler and didn't win money in Houston.
Right.
All paths lead towards the same thing, right? If you played Scheffler and won money, the takeaway is, okay, easy game. This guy is everything that we thought he was, and we were one stupid mistake away from potentially winning more money. If you played Scheffler and lost money, the takeaway is, okay, well, at least I got that right. Now I just have to figure out the other 5 golfers next time. If
Right.
you were like me and faded Scheffler and won money, I mean, I literally had one of the best DFS weeks of my season playing 0% Scheffler. Now, a lot of things had to go right for that to happen. I had Finau and Jaeger everywhere and Taylor Moore everywhere. But I'm not walking away from that week being like, oh, that's the move going forward. Like, not
No.
one moment of that I felt safe whatsoever.
Yeah, because if you liked Tagala last week, do you like him now? How
And
did he do?
Zalatoris.
Zalatoris, did you like
Wyndham
him?
Yeah. So
Did you like Keith Mitchell? All right. I mean, at least
Yeah.
Scheffler. Oh, a bad week for Scheffler is him just barely missing a win by a centimeter. That's a bad week for Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Like, how do you even consider fading him at Augusta?
Right. And then if you didn't play Scheffler and lost money, then your takeaway is, that's the mistake I made was not playing Scheffler, which I would argue isn't necessarily totally true. But the point being is all of the decision matrices lead to the same conclusion is like, this is a tough call any way that you slice it. And that's why I think, you're right. Rory holds a lot of cards here, but maybe it's the Discord that we're in. Maybe it's the Twitter bubble that I'm in.
It's every sport. It's amplified for golf.
No, but I was just going to say public sentiment on Rory feels pretty damn low right now. Like he's just the butt of a lot of jokes, which people like me and Kobe love and feast off of. But God, I don't know. And maybe that transitioned us to talking about Valero, but I was shocked he was priced this high at Valero, to be honest. He's not playing better than Ludwig or Hideki.
No, I mean, some of the Masters pricing is really interesting overall. The name that really popped out to me quickly was Lowry at 8K. I think Lowry could contend to possibly win this year. And if you want him in your win pool up top for a min 1 rule of like a Scheffler minimum or your other 2 winners, Lowry would probably be up there for me. But anyway, we can discuss that next week. But some pricing at Augusta was interesting to say the least. This week, same thing. I don't think with Rory up there, with Hideki up there, with Aubert up there, I don't think Rory in that spot at 12-3, 16, almost $2,000 more than the next guy. He's not Scheffler. They're pricing him like Scheffler in this field. He's not Scheffler. He's going to be what, 7 to 9% this week, possibly.
Yeah.
And this course, and by the way, your article is live at rumpuresports.com, exclusive to it. And Andy will send out a signed copy to every member, right? You do?
Well, I was going to say, not to get us off track, but we should have a conversation about if you want to do anything special or any special Masters content, giveaways, all that type of stuff. I'm going to the Masters. It's no secret flex. I'll be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, on the grounds every single day, sharing that info of what I see at the practice rounds exclusively in the RPS Discord.
Yeah.
So it should be a really, really fun week.
3.5.
Yeah.
You got half the flex for each day.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we will discuss that and figure out, because it's going to be a big week for all of us. The Valero, though, coming from a long history here, we've seen TPC San Antonio a lot. It's not a favorite course for a lot of these players on tour. If you look at a lot of course rankings from PGA surveys or just overall, it typically ranks lower. Course not designed properly for the wind. It's difficult. You have to be a good driver of the ball. You really can't get away from that. Former winners saying this. Ball striking matters. It's the PGA Tour, but driving the ball specifically this week. Par fives are tough. 1, maybe 2 are reachable. The wind, the greens are tough to hit, shaved runoffs, tight lies, and so you see guys, Corey Connors twice, who put the ball in the fairway, doing well here. And, guys like that, and we'll get to it, guys like that, because Corey Connors is a darling at Augusta National. That's going to be a very interesting read this week as a favorite, as a chalky favorite, as a guy who everyone expects to win. There's a few very interesting narratives this week. What say you about this course, though, Andrew Black?
I really like this golf course. I think it's like a very underrated test for pro golf. My buddy Joseph Lamagna is like huge on TPC San Antonio as sneakily one of the better golf courses on tour. Wind is going to play an important factor. So we'll be monitoring the weather report as the week goes on, but it's pretty standard mid-scoring affair. Between 12 and 18 under par generally, and you got to keep the ball in play off the tee.
Yeah.
You don't have to be wildly accurate or wildly long. It's generally more about, it's a lot like TPC Scottsdale or TPC Summerlin. The rough is very negligible. There's a low missed fairway penalty. So mainly you got to keep the ball in play off the tee. You got to score on the par fives. That's a real way to separate yourselves. You posted that in the Discord this morning too. The par fives are some of the toughest on tour. They're not reachable by all players, so you can gain a tremendous advantage by being able to capitalize on those par fives because they're not gimme birdie opportunities. And I think it requires like a fairly, balanced skill set this week in a mid-scoring test. So, we'll
Kevin
talk about
2011. Got the 16 on number 9.
16 on the hole. Yeah. So we'll talk about we will talk about like look ahead spots and stuff like that. I think there's some fascinating narratives to break down for particularly all the top guys.
Badley has ridiculous history at this tournament. I don't know what to think about that. Well, I mean, Badley is, an exceptional player around the green. Green's tough to hit, shaved runoffs, tight lies. There you go. You saw it last week. Taylor Moore, by the way.
Yeah, that was huge.
Really impressed me.
That was huge. Yeah.
And now he's mid-6s at Augusta National.
Yeah. Good course bet. Like that was the thing too, Wiley, is we talked about the whole Wednesday show that we did on Wednesday evening after Kobe went to the practice round last week was like, this golf course is going to look and play dramatically different than we have seen in years past because of the overseed. And that got me a lot higher on Jaeger because I was basically like, this is Torrey Pine's Bermuda version. They're going to make this look exactly like Augusta. And, that got some of our guys like Reish heavy on Dietrich and Lashley and all of those bombers with the overseeded rough, the lower missed fairway penalty ended up making a huge, huge difference. Taylor Moore being one of those guys that raised in our estimation.
Look at the par 3 on the back where Scotty Scheffler went for the pin and it rolled into the water on a good shot.
It's like 12. Yeah.
It looks like but it reminds you of 12 at Augusta, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing. Okay. So this week, in the high range, 9-7 and up. I think Aubert out of the McIlroy, Matsuyama, Aubert. We could pull this up even if we want to. Let's do that. Let's pull this up, Andy. Let's present. You want to?
Just responded to a guy taking shots at my sweater.
What is up with your sweater?
It's like it's Aviator Nation sweater. It's just a brand, and I mean, it's a clothing store. It's incredibly comfortable. I think it's like one of the most comfortable clothing brands. They've got phenomenal sweatpants too.
Is that a flex?
I don't know if it's a flex. I mean, he was like, this guy got a rainbow sweater on. I was like, okay.
Oh, Natalie's backing you up. That's borderline.
She's backing me up for sure.
It was also a flex that you have a friend in Joe Lamagna. That's a flex. I
do have a friend. Okay. Reese is right. I mean, it's bordering on flex. I mean, like, if we're being honest about it, the price points, it's not like low. So I think you probably
full flex.
It's not hot. It's not like crazy high. Like it's not like we're talking about like a Loro Piana here, but it's a mid to affordable, but higher than Vuori is amazing.
Natalie, by the way, being a vet, the horse went back home today, Piedmont, and I posted a video of him having fun in the paddock running around. So there you go.
We were asking
support, and God bless.
Yeah, we were talking about that this weekend.
Good. Okay, so let me present this real quick. I was distracted by Andy's sweater talk. Okay, we good? Yeah, I can see it. I probably have to change the studio. Yeah, I do. 1 second, please. 1 second. There we go. There we go. All right. So top range here, 9-7 up. I think Aubert comes in probably the hottest. And why not, right? I'm interested to see what Matsuyama does going into Augusta. He's in the 8 range there at the Masters in pricing. I love him. I love how he's been playing. He was a withdraw here 2 years ago. There were some big missed cuts here at the top of the board 2 years ago. Do you recall that? I think Matsuyama, Aubert, and McIlroy all miscut and Hideki withdrew. So what's your take up here? I mean, Fitzpatrick has cooled off. Homa, same. Morikawa, same. It's kind of an interesting bunch.
Yeah, I bet Ludwig first thing on Monday morning. I thought even though the odds, it felt like I was hoping for like an 18 or 20. I got a 14. I mean, it's down to 12 in most places. Tell me if you subscribe to this theory that I was kind of playing around with. I mean, there are a million quantifiable statistical reasons why I like Ludwig on this course, but I kind of like the fact that he's never played the Masters before, right? So you have all these guys, particularly like Rory, Hideki, Morikawa, Homa, who's got a lot of questions to answers at majors, Fitzpatrick, Spieth, Connors, like all of those guys know how crazy next week is going to be. They've all done it before. It's the classic look ahead spot in any sport, right?
Yep.
And Ludwig, it's almost like an ignorance is bliss thing, right? It's like he's never played Augusta. Like, wait, you don't know what's coming, right? All he knows is he's going back to Texas where he played college golf for his first time as a pro. And I think it's going to be a lot easier for him to like focus on the present because he doesn't know what's coming. Do you think that's a crazy take?
I think it's a fantastic take because you see a lot of the guys, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, top of mind, right? Jordan Spieth, when he was young, freewheeling, the run he had was incredible. But then you start to get older and think, man, I have to maintain that form against golfers who now feel the same way as me as 10 years ago. Rory, in an even different class, is that he probably feels his window's even closing a bit. The pressure is always on him being the highest. Scheffler's won a jacket, right? It's sort of Rory and Brooks.
Yeah.
When is their time? Rory, peak, right? Especially, probably the worst thing you can do this week is win, because then everything is going to be on him again. And I think early starts for Rory at majors can be challenging for him. So out at Portrush, you've seen it at Augusta.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, there's nothing up here. Typically, I center one potential winner and put that in a min one rule with a group of other, maybe two more. I don't have anything up here that I would say, yeah, I like one of these guys to win this week.
So you're a little cooler on Ludwig.
No. I like Ludwig to perform well, and I like your take on him at Augusta, but I do think it's a look forward moment for these guys. I do.
Yeah. And Ludwig, I imagine, will be very highly owned. I am not, again, a gauge for me on this is like how many people after I do a podcast tell me I'm crazy in terms of the guy that I talk about. And I got a lot of messages on Sunday, great Ludwig take. Ludwig's winning the Valero. Couple other people tipped him as well. So I don't think Ludwig's going to be sneaking up on anybody. What do you do with Spieth this week, man? I got to be honest. Yeah. Like I know Rory is probably draft pick number one and who I'm most curious to see. Spieth's like 1B for me.
Yeah.
What are you doing with him here at 9.5?
Well, I think that so 9-7 and up, a lot of meh. I love it. Aubert. Yeah, I think he could do really well this week. I think he may be looking forward. He doesn't have to do anything well this week to get it to Augusta. A couple of guys do. This is the range that really intrigues me for a number of reasons. So if we're looking at 8-7 and up, and by the way, Alex Noren on tough, long courses, two Eagles coming in on Sunday.
Yeah,
he was mispriced last week, but he still performed to it.
Yeah.
The guy's a grinder. I mean, he's nails. And I don't really, and now you get a discount on him this week at the Valero, where tough par fives.
Right. And he's not, Wiley, he's not in the Masters field from my understanding as well. And so like
he's not.
8 of the last 11 winners of the week before the Masters were not already qualified. So there is
a narrative,
a bit of an extra motivation for guys to be able to get in this week.
Yes. The top 50 rule ended last week. So if you're in the top 50 world last week, it had to be after Houston. The only way, if you're not in Augusta right now, is if you win this week, period. So look at this range. 8-7, Noren. Billy Horschel, I think probably the biggest narrative. Not that, he really wants to get in more than other people. They all want to get in. But Billy's actually he almost won last week, right? He was very close last week.
Yeah, Billy's
very close on the Florida swing. And you know that Billy plays well at Augusta National. He's got some indelible moments there when he had to take his shoes off, when he fell down. But Billy Horschel, 8-9, that guy, for all that momentum on exactly what you said, is one guy I would circle the most. Will he be popular? Of course. Will Ben On take some ownership from him? Probably. Tommy Fleetwood's always popular. Corey Connors, another one. He's in, but he's won here twice.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Connors always gets the smoke at Augusta. I think he's 78 on DraftKings next week. So this range is not even talking about speed, right?
Yeah. Let me ask
Billy
you this.
Billy is the guy. Billy is the guy, though, that I would circle the most this week.
Yeah.
In that range.
Billy's so I would say probably the two best players is Benny On in the Masters.
I'll tell you right now.
Because I would say the three best players not in the Masters, and there's another guy who I bet. So Benny On, Noren, Billy, those are probably the three best players not in the Masters in this field.
I got one more. Keith Mitchell.
I would even add Maverick McNeely into that mix, who I think is underpriced as well.
Yep. We'll get to Keith.
But okay, so let me do rapid fire with you here. Like Morikawa, Homa, Fitz, Spieth. Do you think any of those guys are getting significant ownership? And who would be your favorite out of the Morikawa, Homa, Fitz, Spieth range? Like it feels like one of those guys are going to smash, but none of them are particularly comfortable. Like I could give you a lot of anti-Morikawa reasons, give you a lot of anti-Homa reasons. I don't like the way he's playing right now. Fitz looked good at the Players, but outside of that, it's been very hit or miss for Fitz. He's never played this golf course before, and obviously, it's a great spot for Spieth. But if you watch golf, you can't be incredibly encouraged about Spieth. So, what about
I think
that?
it's Spieth. I think it's Spieth.
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's Spieth, course history winner, Texas, short game, Masters prep. He needs a bounce.
yeah,
And I'm telling you, you talk about Rory winning and what happens. Imagine Spieth winning. Can you imagine
yeah,
Spieth winning going into Augusta? So that range right there is incredibly full of narrative.
yeah.
And I could like them all. I don't particularly like Fleetwood. But yeah. And then going down, let's say 7-7 to 8-7.
Yeah, this is a lot of meat in this range.
First name I heard this week, Tom Kim. That's the first name I heard.
Just because he's so low price, like I don't know, man. I got to do some digging on the injury stuff. I mean, he's withdrawn from back-to-back tournaments.
Yeah,
and
I'm not big on Tom Kim.
Yeah, me neither. He's withdrawn from back-to-back tournaments, and the last time we saw him was at the API, where he lost like 4.5 strokes off the tee. Listen, you know me, like I'm not going to tell you anything's a bad play at low ownership. If the guy's a good golfer long-term objectively, but I don't really think that's necessary because there's going to be so many leverageable opportunities in this field. Like I'm really fascinated to see how ownership shakes out this week because I think that it will be kind of a lazy week with a lot of people looking ahead to the Masters, starting their Masters prep, building Masters lineups.
Yeah.
Masters content now is a 2-week cycle at this point. So like I'm recording my giant Masters preview with Steve Bamford tomorrow, so I think there's going to be opportunities at the Valero where, people are just going to lazily congregate around the same plays. And those are the weeks that I typically have a lot of success at, but, so we'll see. Yeah. Harman flop lag. I think
Harman discount.
Underpriced. Yeah.
Now
Well,
you've got
underpriced.
8-6 Harman discount. He's in the Masters. Scott's in the Masters. English in the Masters. Henley's in the Masters. Tom Kim is in the Masters. Fowler. This could be his last Masters ever. I don't believe he's going to win again.
Yeah.
I think you'll probably follow the top 50. 7-3 at Augusta. Not a bad price.
Mm-hmm.
One guy who's not there is sub 8K Bez, right?
Hitting his irons beautifully.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can he keep it square off the tee? But he's a great wedge player. Another narrative, if you want it, a guy that should belong at Augusta National next week. He's one of them. So yeah, a lot of these guys this week necessarily I don't love as plays, at least right now. Harman's a discount. Henley seems to always burn us, right? Either way.
Yeah.
Bez is the one. If you talk about Horschel, Bez is the next one for me, at least at 7-7 and up. And kudos to Akshay, right?
Yeah. That was Akshay was in the lineup for me that helped me have so much success last week. Akshay and Taylor Moore were the key to that. I think my favorite, if we're going 8-7 to 7-7, I think my favorites are Harman, English, and Baz.
Yeah.
Asking Aaron Rye to play well two weeks in a row. I've tried that before. This might be a sneaky Eric Cole bounce back spot. I mean, less than a month ago, Wiley, we were playing 10K Eric Cole at 25% at the Honda.
Yeah.
He's still a really good player that I think now it's a pretty good, if you're looking at this kind of like the stock market, which I tend to do. I think, you're getting a good buy low spot on Eric Cole at a golf course that I think he could have some success at with a low miss fairway penalty. But I think my favorites are Harmon, Bez, Harris English, probably.
I can't dispute that.
Yeah.
I would be super heavy on each, but I can't dispute that. But below, because I agree with you on the pricing, right? There probably is a market to show you how someone's price has declined or increased over the last few weeks in DFS.
Totally.
Keith Mitchell. Now you get him in an easier course, relatively, at a $2,000 discount from last week. Why?
Mm-hmm.
He missed the cut. Fine. He still gained strokes off the tee. He didn't miss the cut by that much.
Yeah, missing on the number.
Now you get 7,600 Keith Mitchell, who will probably come in about 11 to 15%, maybe lower percent owned. Great driver of the ball, and like Horschel, not at the Masters. Keith Mitchell is someone I have a big circle around this week just because of that discount alone. And you got any 6-7 and up range, Lucas Glover. I mean, your guy. Now, Glover is at Augusta, but
it's like everybody's talking about these Scheffler Tiger comps, and I run my model every week, and
it's always Lucas Glover.
The numbers keep telling me that Lucas Glover is the best golfer in the world. So that's probably a me problem, but listen, I'm just going to keep playing Lucas Glover as a pure numbers player.
You have to at 7,300. Yeah. I mean, you go through this before, and Lucas Glover's playing the Valero. What's his price on a driver heavy course?
Yeah,
or keeping the fairway course. Okay, one of the best drivers on tour.
Yeah,
I'd say 86 minimum. Oh, he's 73. Perfect.
Right.
I'm in.
Right. You Lucas Glover and Corey Connors have very similar skill sets. So any place that Corey Connors plays well, you're going to want to play Lucas Glover. The other guy that I bet this guy this morning at 65-1, and I don't imagine I'm super alone on that. Has a really good Matt McNeely spot, not in the Masters.
Yeah. Tell me about Matt McNeely.
I thought he was going to be a little priced in like the high 7s or low 8s. He's driving the ball really well right now. He's a great overseeded Bermuda putter. He putts amazing on these greens. He's got top 15s at the Players and in Phoenix. Both of those are overseeded Bermuda. It's really just the irons. Like if Mav McNeely can gain a little bit on approach, I think he'll have a really strong week. So I'm in on Mav McNeely.
To me, it's like Mark Hubbard, like a great putters. I know ballers. Rich family. I just don't know. Like it's hard for me to describe Mark Hubbard, but he played last week, right? I think he was doing actually okay.
Yeah, I played Hubbard too. Hubbard was solid last week, and I'll probably stay on him another week.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move down here a little bit. Yeah. So
who else?
Crew asked about Connors, of course. Yeah, would love Connors.
Yeah.
A lot like Glover, like Andy said. I think it's a very good comp. Mm-hmm. And Connors has won here twice, and I can't not see him performing well again this week. Brendan Todd. There you go. A guy that all types of golfers can win here as long as they keep it in the ballpark. Brendan Todd, it stood out to me too.
Me too. I like Brendan Todd a lot. We're kind of on the same page this week, which I don't know how I feel about that. But Brendan Todd at 7.1.
It's called Unity.
Was a name that everybody love everybody has been the new saying for me.
That's the sponsor this week. It's Grupo Salinas. It's shared equity,
shared prosperity. Yeah,
through a comprehensive business model.
The shared
prosperity. Now, one person on earth can tell me what Grupo Salinas actually does, or any sponsor for the PGA Tour. What does Cognizant do? What does Korn Ferry do?
What does Valspar do? I was wondering that one the other day. I think we can probably.
Are you fucking lying?
Wait, Valspar?
It's paint. Yes. Have you ever painted before? Oh, this is back to the original conversation.
I've never painted. No, I've never painted before.
So, on the tee boxes when they had paint cans that said Valspar?
Yeah.
That's paint.
Okay. What's Valero? Gas? That's pretty standard.
It's
Gas and
also
oil.
Valero's also paint.
Wait, what about all the Valero gas stations?
This sweatshirt you're wearing is making a lot more sense in terms of Natalie. He's got to know what a paint can looks like.
Yeah, she comes in and delivers the death blow. I
All right, let me bail you out of this.
Yeah,
I forget what I was talking about, but yeah. So
Brendan Todd.
So Brendan Todd, equality, shared, comprehensive business model through a prosperity-driven Mexico drug market. Sorry, group of Salinas. That's what you do. Yeah. So down here with Brendan Todd, let's go a little lower because look at this guy, Andrew Novak. What has he done wrong for us? Again, in the mix last week, gained strokes off the tee. We know he's a good putter. Now you got Novak mispriced at 6,500, right next to your Stune, your guy, who I know you're going to love. I'll just hand that to you in a second. But I love Andrew Novak. Big standout and under that lower than 6-7 price range for me. Thank you. God bless. Ryan Moore, 6'5".
Yeah. So let's start with Novak because I was really surprised that he was this cheap just because Novak's played great at the Valero before. He finished 9th here, one of his better PGA Tour performances of his entire career thus far came at the Valero. And he made another cut last week. I know he kind of faded over the weekend, but 6.5 Andrew Novak. I'm going to be curious to see if he's chalk once again. He was a bit too popular for me last week, but I love the 6.5 price tag on Novak this week. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play well again. Love his iron play on this golf course.
Max G. We liked him last week. Max Grayson.
Yep. Hits Satsune flex, hits a tune as Toby likes to call him. I still haven't had somebody tell me the right pronunciation of the name. I say Hitsatsune because I like saying Hitsatsune. Yeah. Kobe says Hitatune. That's
not it.
Kobe, that's absolutely not it. Yeah. Hitatune. And the other guy that I would mention, Wiley, in here before I forget, Davis Thompson, 6.7. My guy. Good.
Why is he your guy?
He's just been cashing for me. It was a big T21 for me last week at 7.3. And he's another really good golf course for Davis Thompson. I'm shocked he's this low. I thought he'd be higher.
Pulled up a pronunciation, but I don't think we're going to get it right.
Does anyone in the chat know how to actually pronounce that? Could be an Aubert thing where everybody's calling him Aberg, and then the pendulum swings to Aubert, and then people start saying Oberg.
It's Aubert for sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But remember at the Ryder Cup, like people figured that out, that everybody had been saying his name wrong for months on end. I don't think Hitsatsune.
Oh, I got it. Okay. This is, what's his first name?
Rio.
Okay. Here's Shimatsu. Hang on.
Shimazu Hisatsune.
Hisatsune.
Okay. There's a little more of an emphasis on the A there in the middle. Hisatsune.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good play this week. I like him.
Hisatsune.
Yeah.
All right. I don't really love, Cam Champ. He had a great off the tee week. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really do his irons weren't great. His around the greens weren't great. I'm not sure. He is playing better. 62. I may have a little sprinkle. I know Nate Lashley's going to get some love down here too.
Yeah.
Burgoon disappointing. Bramlett disappointing. Kevin Yu is mispriced. Our Kevin Yu.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Ryan Moore too. I know you mentioned him. He's playing great golf. I didn't really understand why Bud Cauley was getting significantly more ownership than his peers for like a 2-week stretch. And then finally my numbers caught up and Bud Cauley rates out really well for me this week. So he finished T45 last week, made the cut, but I don't know if that ownership is going to stick around on Bud Cauley after a T45, but the guy's been pretty solid in Texas over his career and is starting to hit his irons really well, and he keeps the ball in play. So at 6.4, I'm going to be in on Bud Cauley for the first time, pending no crazy ownership. And then Chuck, don't call me Charlie Hoffman.
Oh yeah, talk to me. By the way, Bud Cauley's first name is Carl. It's Carl.
Is it really?
Yeah, because I like to. Sometimes you can emasculate or sort of, you can make fun of guys by calling them Bud, and you can't do that to Bud because it's his name. So you have to call him like pal or friend or chief or sport.
Yeah.
But his name is actually Carl, and in quotes, Bud. So someone did humiliate him once with Bud, and
that's a big Kirshner take. Is if you call me Bud, you might as well be starting World War III. I don't want to be called Bud. So that's what I was going to ask. Like there are a lot of Buds out there in the world. I'm trying to think of other famous Buds, but if your name is Bud, like what is the, are all Carls turn into Buds? Like what is the giant range of names that you could change into Bud? Like
I'm going to call him. If that's the case, I'm going to call him.
And be like, yeah, my name is Matthew, but I want everybody to call me Bud. Or is there a specific name that gets turned into Bud? Like, what are the rules?
Yeah, I'd like to be called Bud. What about if it's Carl? If Carl is the change name, then it's Bud Yuan. Let's just call him Bud Yuan.
Bud Yuan.
No, back to Charlie Hoffman. What is better to play Charlie Hoffman at 6,400 than 3 missed cuts in a row? But Charlie Hoffman, in my useless information library that is my brain for golf, pull a book off the shelf and something screaming at me, turn a page, it says play Charlie Hoffman here. Great long iron player, good in big ballparks. It's Texas. Although he's a narrative for every state, I believe. California, Nevada, Texas. I'll always love Charlie Hoffman. Plus, is Charlie Hoffman in next week? No. Do people want Charlie Hoffman in? Yes.
First round leader. Yeah.
First round leader. I would take Charlie Hoffman first round leader with my life this week, the Valero.
That's huge. If Andrew Novak is in the field, I would, because Andrew Novak is like Tiger Woods in round ones.
He is amazing, dude.
He literally raises his baseline. I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. Like he's the number 2. I don't know about this week, but last week, Andrew Novak was the number 2 round 1 player in the entire Houston Open field this year behind Scotty. So I think if you just keep jamming Andy knows first round later, you'll probably come out on top.
Look how far Ryan Fox has fallen, by the way. He's a 62 golfer at Valero.
Dude, that was really disappointing. I played him, and he was one of those guys that made the cut and finished like T75. Absolutely nothing for me.
And Fox is playing in Augusta. I guess he's top 50.
Fox is in. Yeah, Fox is in at Augusta, huh? Remember when we all bet Taylor Pendrith at 35-1 in Mexico, and he was 9,900? He's like 6,400 for Taylor Pendrith these days. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Sam Stevens. Yeah, I like Sam Stevens a lot.
Some course history here, a little bit of course history.
Mm-hmm. And then my guy, JJ Spawn, still the biggest outright hit of my golf betting career was JJ Spawn 210 to 1 at this tournament. So I feel like I got to do a little something on JJ this week.
Quickly, what does Benjamin Moore do?
Paint. That was a layup. I can read the room.
You should have said it's Ryan's brother.
I know you're trying to get me there. I mean, think about how many sponsors of PGA Tour events does the average person who's watching the PGA Tour event really gain insight into their company? I mean, you got 5 minutes with the CEO on Sunday, which everybody except Matthew Wiley tunes out. That's Wiley's favorite 5 minutes
favorite
of the
segment.
entire tournament.
Because here's what I learned from them. Okay, as a business leader,
leadership directives.
Mostly their audience are large conference rooms with board members, directors, and or their staff, like limited. Now they go in front of live television audience with 2.5 million people at a sporting event, so different sports audience. I'm like, can this guy handle the smoke? It tells me so much about him. And then they start going rote on terms of their business objectives. And did their assistant write them this like an hour before? Do they even know what they do? It's like I wish you were the CEO of Valspar, because you're like, what is this we do? We paint.
Why is there a question at the end of the television?
Yeah, because they always put them in bright sunlight. They're always wearing a blue blazer, and they're always talking about the good things they do with their company. And so I rate them. There's some good ones out there. Never seen Charles Schwab on TV. Gutless.
He's busy. Chuck Schwab is neighbors with Matt McNeely's dad at Pebble Beach. They both live on like the 10th and 11th hole at Pebble Beach. It goes Joe Lacob, Chuck, who owns the Warriors.
I thought you were going to say Charles Schwab is my uncle.
Chuck Schwab, and then Matt McNeely's dad. They all own real estate on Pebble Beach. All right. Anyone else? Who's your winner? I'm sticking with Ludwig.
Yeah, you know what? If you didn't say Ludwig, I'd probably say Ludwig, but I'm going to say that Billy Horschel does it this week.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say one of these guys that's fit the narrative. I love it. What is it? What was the stat? How many winners out of X amount have been
eight of the last 11? So you're in the 8% zone. They got in the tournament
based on this tournament. Okay.
Correct.
That's Billy Ball, baby. Natalie's picking Rory.
That's a troll. She knows Rory. Do you know what Natalie's favorite stat has been? She told me this 8 times over the weekend. She goes to me completely out of the blue. She goes, hey, do you know that she saw this on Instagram or something? She goes, hey, do you know that Scotty Scheffler's caddy has made more money playing golf than Rory McIlroy has this year? That was like an Instagram post.
Is it true?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, on the PGA Tour, at least, Rory won in Dubai in January. But Ted Scott, Scotty Scheffler won $8 million in the last 2 weeks, probably now closer to 9 after Houston.
He's getting close to $1 million.
Right. That's what I was going to say. How much you would know this better than me, because you're like friendlier with a lot more caddies than I am. But what percentage does the caddy make?
I think it's 10%, but there's some sort of scale like 10, 7, 5, 1. I forget what, but I think on a win, I think it's 10%. So 800,000 is probably a pretty true number for that little stretch there.
Yeah. See, Ted Scott has made more money in the last 2 weeks than Rory has all year. Also, if you're Scotty Scheffler and you get this, I'm not saying that getting Ted Scott on the bag was the reason why Scotty's now the undisputed best player in the world. But I mean, you have to be fairly silly to not understand there's a giant correlation between Scheffler's success and adding Ted Scott to the team.
Oh my God.
So,
oh my God. I mean,
I hope Scheffler pays above rate for him.
I mean, now Ted Scott has 3 Masters, 2 different guys, maybe 4 this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could see he's a good psychologist. You can see that even the small moments on TV,
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Good luck this week.
Later, guys.
So
Adios.
we'll plan our Augusta coverage next week, but we've got a big week coming up.
Yeah.
RPS. Go to the Discord. We fight on weekends. It's fun, and then we make up.